this video is to give you some visual instruction for the upcoming belly breathing audio. And the belly breathing exercise is meant to get you into contact and help you learn how to use the diaphragm to breathe. Now, as I mentioned in the last video, many of us are breathing in this very shallow manner from up in the chest space. And one of the main problems with that is it's preventing us from using our breath to its maximum capacity. And so this belly breathing exercise will help you learn how to not only find the full range of motion in the diaphragm, but to build up a little bit of strength. The diaphragm is the muscle of breathing. So regardless of whether or not we're trying to use it, every time we take an inhale or an exhale, it's the diaphragm that's making that happen. But like any muscle in the body, if we're only using it to its minimum capability, there's no strength behind it, there's no power behind it. So this exercise is going to get you into a place of really feeling that muscle working. Now, a couple of things to be aware of. If you have difficulty getting on and off the floor, or if laying on your stomach is generally just not comfortable for you, you might want to just skip this exercise altogether. You can certainly try it out and see how it feels, but if it's not comfortable for you on the belly, then you can just refer back to the exercise we did in the previous video, where I had you sitting with your hands on the belly and just breathing, feeling the rise and fall of the belly space into your hands, and that would be totally acceptable. The other thing I want to mention is that you do not want to do this exercise on a full stomach. Now, I almost don't even need to mention that, because if you were to try it on a full belly, it is not going to feel good. But more importantly, it's not good for you. So make sure when you do the belly breathing exercise that you have a relatively empty stomach. And the last thing is, I just want to make sure that you know exactly where your diaphragm is, because I think most of us have kind of a vague idea, and you see me putting my hands here, but maybe we don't actually know. So take your fingers to your ribs, and if you just start to walk the fingertips up the ribs, they will eventually meet right here at the lowest point of the chest, which is the sternum. So the diaphragm muscle, it's a dome-shaped muscle, and it's actually underneath the upper ribs here. And so even though we don't have direct access to feeling the diaphragm, our upper stomach muscles here are connected to the ribs and connected to the diaphragm, and it helps us access the diaphragm muscle, which is up and inside. Okay, so we're going to do, I'm going to show you three positions. The first two are done on the belly, and the last one is done on the back. And it's important that you understand the positioning here. The audio, of course, you'll be doing with your eyes closed. So I want to make sure you understand the positioning well, okay? So we're going to come onto the belly. And you can think of this position sort of like, do you remember when you were a kid and you would get in front of the television and you would just plop your head into your hands here? Well, that's the exact position that we're going to be in. So a couple things to be aware of. Number one, if propping yourself up like this does not feel good on your low back, you can try just widening your feet and your legs a little bit, and that will oftentimes resolve any discomfort in the low back. But if you find that this position is just not comfortable for you, then you can skip position one altogether and just go straight to position two, which I'll show you in a minute. Now, the other thing that can sometimes be problematic here is occasionally people have discomfort in the back of the neck. So if that's the case for you, you're going to want to make a fist with one hand, wrap the other hand around it, and then bring your forehead to your hands. And this should alleviate any discomfort in the back of the neck. Now, the most important part about this position is we want to make sure that the diaphragm and the belly are on the floor, the diaphragm and the ribs, but that the chest is not. So we don't want to be so low that our chest is on the floor, nor do we want to be so high that now the diaphragm is off the floor. So you want to ensure that you are in a position where the diaphragm and the ribs are making firm contact with the floor. And then once you're here, you're going to spend a couple minutes breathing. I'll go into greater detail about the instruction during the audio exercise itself. Okay. Now the second position, you're going to stay on your belly. I'm just going to show you the position of the arms. We're going to come into what I call goalpost arms. So the elbow is going to come straight out from the shoulder and make a 90-degree bend. Okay. So again, you're going to stay on the belly, and you're going to bring the arms out into that goalpost shape and just bring one ear to the mat or to the floor. And now you have your chest, your belly, your ribs, diaphragm, the whole thing on the floor. And we'll spend a few minutes breathing here. And then the third and final position is going to be on your back. Simply going to roll over and bring one hand to the diaphragm, the other hand to the low belly, and then we'll spend a few minutes breathing here, feeling the diaphragm raise up into the hand on the inhale. Okay, so those are the positions that you're going to be in. Make sure you understand them because they're important. And the only other thing I want to mention here is, again, this exercise is designed to help you start to feel the diaphragm moving and feel not just the range of motion, but start to build up a little bit of strength with it. But once you learn that, once you kind of have that down and you can be in a seated position and be doing the 3-5 breath, or say you just want to take a really big inhale and you're able to feel that happening from the diaphragm space, you can still use the belly breathing exercise as a standalone meditation. I find that for a lot of people it's a great meditation because you can really get focused on feeling and connecting with the breath because it's so apparent, and a lot of people find it to be a very helpful meditation. So feel free to use it as a standalone meditation even once you get the breathing from the diaphragm space down. Enjoy.